Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. AITA for telling my younger brother he needs to find somewhere else to live. My younger brother, 16, has been living with me for a little more than a year now. Our parents booted him out after he came out, and I couldn't turn him down since he's my baby brother. When my partner moved in, he established a few ground rules. No parties. His rent would be our weekly food bill. And if he could look after our two children, 6 and 10, when we were both working late, that would be fantastic, and there would be no visitors in our house. He agreed to all of these terms and was upholding them well until lately. My brother just acquired a new partner, who we've seen a handful of times and who seems to be really kind, but we don't know him all that well. Anyway, my partner and I were working late the other night when he phoned to check if his boyfriend could come over. I told him I'd prefer he didn't be around my daughters when we weren't there, but he seemed cool with it, so I didn't think much of it. When I went home, though, there was his partner sitting on the sofa with him. I didn't bother them since his partner seemed distraught, he was weeping, and after he left, I asked my brother what happened. Apparently, his boyfriend had found out his parents were divorcing. I apologized to his lover, but I requested him not to bring him near my girls until we got home, and just because they were sleeping didn't alter the fact that anything might have occurred. We got into a bit of a fight because he was defending himself, and I ended up telling him I felt really insulted and frightened for my girls since he wasn't our agreement, and I have no idea how many times he's had others in the home without permission. I informed him that he would have to find another place to stay since I had children to care after, and they come first. We don't charge him much rent, so he has $15,000 in his bank account and isn't in danger of becoming homeless. I informed him he had till the end of March to locate a home, and that his usual obligations would hold until then. He began weeping, apologizing, and begging if he could remain, so I told him I wasn't disowning him like our parents, but he couldn't live here anymore. My husband claims I was a total AH and that I need to tell him he's welcome to stay. He claimed he phoned first, so he's most likely never had anybody else over without permission, and he'd be a pretty poor lover if he wasn't there to support me. I feel like I'm the AH since my husband is normally a stickler for rules, but even he's ready to bend them for this. So, AITA? Story 2. AITA for yelling after my father brought my half-sister into our family therapy. So I had no idea my father could do this. I'm furious about it, but I also feel bad. So yesterday was family counseling night, and I, 18 female, like coming since it helps get all the secrets out and makes me feel happy and normal in my family. But my mother, 39 years old, did not accompany me since my cousin had given birth and she wanted to be there to see her. So it was just me and my father, 44 male, going, which was great since we'd been there alone before. But there was already my half-sister Eliza, 15 female, waiting in the counselor's office, and seeing her there made me unhappy. I didn't engage in the therapy session since it made me sad and angry at the same time, and the counselor figured out what was going on, but my father didn't and I couldn't even communicate properly. Eliza seemed to be attempting to paint me as a villain for not letting others know she was my sister, which I never said she couldn't tell, only that I didn't want her to, and not wanting to hang out with her, which I don't. When we got home, my father inquired what was wrong and why it was so silent, and I simply shouted at him that he shouldn't have brought her without my permission, and that he had broken my trust. He didn't say anything, but I knew I had injured him. After sobbing for a while, I went to bed. Later, he came into my room to chat, but I feigned asleep, so he kissed me on the forehead and went. I know I made him feel terrible, and I haven't seen him in a long time. He's in town seeing my infant half-brother. My mother informed me that I shouldn't have spoken the language I did since I'm now 18, and I simply feel like a jerk about it all. Edit. As someone recommended, my father is a serial cheater with 4, soon to be 5, children from his marriage to my mother, but I still adore him because he is a wonderful father. Update. To give everyone an update, my father didn't come home all day Saturday because my 2-year-old half-brother was in the hospital. Things seemed to be really terrible with him, and the day after he returned from the hospital, we had a lengthy discussion about what had occurred. I'd want to thank everyone who pointed out that I was correct to be angry, but I had Eliza to worry about since she was in pain as well. First, Dad apologized for not informing me that he was bringing Eliza to the therapy session and promised never to do it again. I apologized for cussing while shouting, and he accepted my apology. When he asked whether I knew Eliza was in pain, I told him I did, and he recommended we attend to our own therapy session. I told him I'd think about it. The second thing he told me was that there was a potential that my infant half-brother might die, which put everything I said into perspective for him. He said he'd already discussed it with my mother and his mistress, but he needed my approval since he'd wounded me the most and never should have. He asked whether I was comfortable with him going to inpatient treatment for addiction, something I had no idea it existed. I said yes because I think it would help him, even though I know I will miss him terribly. I agreed to meet with Eliza on Wednesdays as several of you advised. We've only had one session, and even though we're not friends, I believe she understands why I feel the way I do and apologized to me since she didn't realize how wounded I was because of Dad. After she admitted that being hospitalized helped her feel normal since her father visited her every day, I felt awful and apologized for not caring about her. She's still unhappy over my refusal to allow her to tell people we're sisters, but she says she's all right since we're undergoing therapy and we could grow close one day. I'm not sure whether we will, but we won't despise each other. I also brought Eliza to see our infant half-brother in the hospital, which astonished his mother, though I'm still not forgiving her. He's a pretty adorable child, and I'm sorry I didn't see him more often. It's difficult to describe, but I initially created this Reddit account to whine about my half-siblings, but you people made a significant impact in how I approach this and what I'll use this account for in the future. Story 3. AITA for telling my son's girlfriend to give back the necklace that he gave to her son. My son Adam passed away abruptly 2 weeks ago. He has been seeing his girlfriend, who is a single mother of a 6-year-old son, for more than 2 years. Although his girlfriend and I did not always agree on many issues owing to our differences, there has always been some friction between us. However, we get along well enough to accept each other's differences. I was completely unaware of Adam's connection with his girlfriend until a few months ago. I'll never understand why he kept this information from me, but it doesn't matter. Adam was adopted when he was a few months old, and I gave him a cross necklace on his 7th birthday, which coincided with the first time he went to church. This necklace has a special place in my heart since it represents his devotion to the church and is a part of his personal identity. I later discovered that he had really given it to his girlfriend's kid only 2 months before his death, despite the fact that he had kept it for years. I phoned his girlfriend to inform her of the situation and requested that she return the item to me. The woman stated that Adam had given the necklace to her son for his 6th birthday, and the boy had cherished it and clung to it so tightly that she couldn't take it away from him, particularly at this time when he was mourning and the necklace had now become a source of comfort. I explained to her that it was originally mine and that I needed to keep it because it has too many memories of Adam, and that the sentimentality of it was too precious to give up. She agreed. The mother pleaded with me to have some sympathy for her son's situation, but I told her to be a little more logical because Adam had been in my life for years. He's my son, but her son had only known him for 2 years. She accused me of making light of the situation, which was not my intention, but I assured her that it wasn't. I asked that she return it and resolve the situation with her son in any manner she saw appropriate, but she argued that it was Adam's to give and not mine to take. She then blamed me, claiming that if I continued to pressurize her and interrupt her son's suffering, I would be held accountable, and she accused me of venting my hatred against her on him. I informed her that he was not my grandson, nor did I have any other relationship to him, and that I was thus not responsible for anything relating to them, or to any of them for that matter. We continued to quarrel, and she eventually disconnected the phone. I don't intend to come out as vindictive. I only want my son's belongings returned. My husband suggested that I simply let it go since Adam intended the baby to have the necklace in the first place. However, I'm still trying to get in touch with Adam's girlfriend about it.